Caitlin!
Can you tie my shoes, please?
Great team win. 17-16, winning record, first time since 2016.
So, CaitlinClark walks into Dallas. No, this isn't the start of a joke. It's the beginning of something huge in women's basketball. Her fans showed up in force, Dave Portnoy's got something to say about it, and now everyone's wondering what's next. Want to hear the punchline? Before we move on, I'd like to ask you a small favor. If you appreciate this content, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Over 98% of you watch the videos without subscribing. It costs you nothing, but it makes a huge difference to us. So did you click the subscribe button? Great. Thank you so much. Now, back to the video. In that force of impact, they are merely the initial stages. What transpired after that was a full-blown movement including these CaitlinClark supporters, which shocked even the pros. I take it you believe you have some understanding of fan devotion? Give it another thought. There was more going on than simply a football game when CaitlinClark's fans traveled to Dallas. They arrived with the intention of leaving an indelible mark on history. Everyone from team executives to seasoned sports reporters was taken aback by the electric excitement and filled streets. The crowd was anything but ordinary. It heralded a basketball revolution. So what were the remarkable actions of these fans? To begin with, they were more than just present. They were actively involved. Images and videos of Clark's ardent fans parading the streets while adorned in her jersey and brandishing placards went viral on social media. No one could not but notice the buzz they generated, whether they were online or offline. However, things start to get intriguing at this point. The social media crew of the Indiana Fever didn't take this as ordinary support from fans. They understood it to be a movement, and that was all. It was recognized that these spectators were not merely cheering, they were there to express their views over the future of women's basketball. That even others unaffiliated with the Fever took note. The other team's players were just as amazed as everyone else. Even though one Dallas Wings player was disappointed at first to see so many fans rooting for the visiting club, he eventually had to concede that this crowd was truly remarkable. She saw that women's basketball could only flourish with the support of engaged fans like herself. However, we should discuss the implications for the sport in its entirety. The narrative surrounding women's sports is being changed by these supporters who are no longer passive observers. A large number of them are demonstrating in order to get the game they adore some attention. There is more at stake than a single game or person. We need to change our perspective and rally behind women's basketball. What these supporters are doing is demonstrating that there is a large and vocal audience that is eager to watch and participate in women's sports. The truth is that this level of fan involvement can alter the course of events. It has an impact on everything from ticket sales and media coverage to sponsorships and the way young girls perceive their own athletic potential. The message that is sent by such a large gathering of supporters is impossible to ignore. Yet statistics alone are insufficient. What matters is the level of enthusiasm and commitment these supporters demonstrate. They are engrossed in the game to the point where they can't help but share their excitement with those around them. As this fan frenzy was coming to a close, a fresh storm broke out. Dave Portnoy has statistics that will make you reevaluate your assumptions about the Rookie of the Year race. When it comes to the WNBA, what goes on behind the scenes? The media magnate Dave Portnoy steps in with his uncensored opinions.
It says both Angel Reese and CaitlinClark deserve to win Rookie of the Year. My jaw hit the floor. They're both MVP. They're not both Rookie of the Years. They're not, and it's okay.
His comments are circulating rapidly after he threw a wrench into the WNBA storyline. When it comes to how the media has covered Angel Reese and the Rookie of the Year contest, Portnoy isn't holding back. What is it then that has enraged Portnoy? People, the numbers are what really matter. His point is that Reese and CaitlinClark's most recent performances couldn't be more different. Portnoy claims that Reese's recent 4 games paint a bleak picture. 0-4 record, 11 points on 26% shooting, and a disappointing performance overall. Next, we can look at Clark's statistics. 4-0 team record, 24 points on 48% shooting. But statistics aren't all Portnoy is talking about. What he perceives as a more systemic issue in the sports media is being exposed by him. He contends that the portrayal of athletes like Clark and Reese is being influenced by a woke agenda. Even though her play hasn't been good enough to earn Rookie of the Year consideration, he thinks the media is continuing to bring her up in the discussion. What the hey? Why does this matter? Thinking. Fair reporting is only one of the issues, according to Portnoy. He is concerned about how it will affect the players personally. He goes so far as to say that he worries about Reese's mental health.
There's a lot of people who continually are talking about Rookie of the Year. Is it Angel Reese or is it CaitlinClark? Who's the better player? Because I'm starting to worry about Angel Reese and her mental health.
Claiming that the media is making her feel pressured by continuing to include her in a race when she has no chance of winning. This goes beyond a single player or one trophy. The impact of media narratives on our views of sportsmen and their feats is the central theme. Some difficult questions are posed by Portnoy's thesis. When we read about these athletes, are we getting the whole story? On the other hand, is this news being manipulated to suit an agenda? Contemplate it. Do we ever get the whole picture when a player's problems are reported? When we look at the stats of different athletes, are we comparing like with like? According to Portnoy, it's possible that we aren't. However, things start to get intriguing at this point. Just because the media is praising Reese doesn't mean Portnoy isn't condemning them. He thinks they're being unfair to her.
So why are we talking about Angel Reese, who is a rebounder? She has one thing well, and she does it great. How would you like to be Angel Reese? And every time they mention your name, they're mentioning, well, maybe Rookie of the Year, is she as good as Caitlin?
He reasoned that Reese could hurt herself if she was kept in a conversation where she was no longer competitive. Our perspective on sports coverage is being challenged by this entire issue. It's about more than simply racking up wins and points. What matters is the narratives that are constructed around these accomplishments and how they are presented to us. In light of that, how does this impact fans? So maybe we should stop focusing just on the news and start digging deeper. We should probably look into reports of a player's stellar or dismal season a bit further. Does this tell us the complete tale, or does it merely tell us the portions that fit a particular narrative? In the sporting world, Portnoy's remarks have ignited a raging controversy. His statement has divided opinion, with some supporting him and others disagreeing with his analysis. One thing is certain, though, this discussion is far from over, no matter where you stand. While it's commendable to receive balanced reporting, what if the veracity of the story being presented is questionable? You can be oblivious to the game within the game that is unfolding before our very eyes. Curious about the true power brokers in women's basketball? What occurs on the court is no longer the only important factor. In the realms of news, social media, and television, there is an entirely different game unfolding. We're discussing how media narratives have an impact on our perception of athletes like CaitlinClark and Angel Reese. Contemplate it. Does the source of a player's performance report ever make you pause and think? Its presentation, perhaps. Because listen up, the delivery of a tale can be a major plot point in its own right. Now we can dissect it. We have CaitlinClark, who is riding high on the backs of her devoted fan base and stellar performance statistics. Contrarily, Angel Reese is still being considered for Rookie of the Year despite his recent struggles. You would believe that this has nothing to do with how well they play on the court. However, that is not all there is to it. The way these athletes are portrayed in the media is significant. What stories to tell, from what perspectives, and which details to emphasize are all decisions they make. The way fans perceive athletes can be significantly influenced by those selections. One way in which the media shapes narratives is by emphasizing Reese's previous achievements while downplaying her more recent problems. When they highlight Clark's fan base more than her gameplay, it's the same thing. The actual action on the court can become lost in these stories. So what's the big deal? To begin with, it has the potential to influence the players directly. Just picture yourself in Reese's position, hearing race after race after race that you're not even close to qualifying for. I mean, that's got to be taxing. Also, Clark may find it difficult to live up to the expectations that have been built up due to all this publicity. However, it's about more than simply the players. These stories also have the power to affect how engaged fans are. Anyone can influence a fan's perspective on the game, their rooting team, or even their television viewing habits by spreading false information about a player. I don't get, what's the point? Who can tell the most compelling tale? Or is it more about performance? For the time being, it appears as though the media is making more decisions than the coaches. Let me clarify something. The expansion of women's basketball depends on media attention. In addition to showcasing outstanding sportsmen, it raises the sport's profile and has the potential to motivate young players. The issue arises, however, when stories begin to take precedence over performances. Our perspective on sports coverage is being challenged by this entire issue. It's about more than simply racking up wins and points. The way those accomplishments are portrayed and the narratives that are constructed around them are important. At this point, what are our options. To begin, we can begin to evaluate the sports news we read with more objectivity. We should probably look into reports of a player's stellar or dismal season a bit further. Does this tell us the complete tale, or does it merely tell us the portions that fit a particular narrative? There will be more time for us to focus on the games themselves. Form your own judgments based on what you see when you watch the guys play and review the statistics. Never take another person's word for it when it comes to a player or a game. My crazy idea is that maybe we should start demanding more from the sports media. We anticipate unbiased reporting that follows the action on the court rather than chasing clickbait stories.